I'm Aaron Keller from the Overwatch team. Aaron Keller from the Overwatch team? Doomfist is dead. Yay! There will be a multi-season storyline that takes place over a year. Woo! 10 new heroes with 5 of them releasing in Season 1. Yeah! A new UI experience. Yeah! Sub-roles with primary roles and unique passives. Yeah! And we're dropping the 2. Yeah! Hey all, emergency player here. Overwatch had its most impactful update last year. You just weren't paying attention. At the time of writing, it seems that the reactions to this update is really positive, and the internet has come to the consensus that Marvel Rivals is the best thing to happen to Overwatch, and that Overwatch is back. And I love the update too. I think adding a good amount of heroes at the start of a new era is a great way to bring a lot of attention to the game and also excite the player base. Despite all the good press this update is getting, I can't help but feel that it's not as impactful as we think it is. Like, don't get me wrong, I think it's great, and they seem like all very fun additions to the roster. But in the end of the day, it's the same game. I think players returning to the game will find that the biggest change to Overwatch isn't the new heroes, or the subclasses, or even them dropping the 2. The biggest change that will shock returning players is a feature that was barely mentioned in this year's Spotlight. It was brought in last year, and I'd argue it's Overwatch's biggest change. And that feature is what's a perk system? The perk system are modifiers that each hero has in Overwatch. Heroes will start with their base kit at level 1, and after dealing a certain amount of damage or healing, they will level up, allowing them to pick a minor perk, which has smaller modifications to abilities. Then they can level up again and get a major perk, which have larger modifications and more significant changes to abilities and playstyles. What's cool is that most of these aren't just simple stat boosts, and most of them actually modify the abilities themselves and give them each a unique feel, allowing players to switch up their perks depending on the situation in the game. Some of my favorite perks include Torbjorn. One of his major perks is that he could place up turrets on walls and he gets extended reach. So sometimes you could just place turrets and they're like upside down and then they're shooting at people and it's kind of wild. Another one that's a bit smaller is Sigma's Levitate Punch. After getting 5 direct hits with his Hypo Spears, he gets this punch that pushes people back, and it's kind of funny when people are all up in your face. And then one of my favorites is Ana's Grenade Bounce. You could give Ana a bouncing grenade for her healing grenade. It will heal on the first one and it will also heal on the second one. There's also a class of perks where the devs just bring back Overwatch 1 abilities that were deemed too powerful, like Hanzo's Geometry Arrows and Mei's Freeze. Guys, they literally brought back Hanzo's Geometry Arrows and Mei's Freeze. They knew they fucked up with Overwatch 2. I think though it's a great way to bring back those abilities that were too overtuned for the general game, but now that everyone has like these game altering modifiers, it's that mentality of since everyone's overpowered, no one's overpowered.
Oh shit, never mind.
The ninjas are ninjaing?
Where is he?
He fell off! No! The cat got me! The cat got me! How did we get here though? While Blizzard announced these abilities all in a major Spotlight event, this didn't come out of nowhere. Looking at some of these abilities, it has become very clear that they're making the most out of the PvE talent system that never came to light. And this is a totally understandable approach. They had a bunch of code for a game mode that got scrapped by a failed project that was out of their control. And they were trying to make best of a situation that was pretty bad, and it was a great way to reuse assets they already had. Leading up to this update, they were doing small tests on the community to see how these systems would work and the reception from the community. The big one that I remember was the April Fool's update in 2024, where they gave all Overwatch heroes weird modifiers and a lot of them being fun and overpowered and in spirit for the holiday. But then Halloween 2024 came around. For Halloween, Blizzard decided to do a game mode called Junkenstein's Laboratory, which is a PvP game mode where in between rounds, players would get random modifiers in the shop and choose which modifiers they wanted to add to their hero. This was a fun game mode, but there were a few things that were a bit off about it. First of all, the Halloween game modes have usually been PvE, typically consisting of some sort of zombie horde mode. And the fact they kept extending this game mode. In 2024, they kept extending the game mode into November due to its popularity, and it was probably just to get more analytics. Going into Overwatch 2025 Spotlight, The players who were paying attention had a feeling that some sort of ability modifier system would be added into the game. Little did we know that this was not only a test pilot for the perk system, but it would also introduce a whole new game mode called... What the hell is Stadium? Stadium is Overwatch's big new game mode of 2025. It's so big that it stands on its own in a standalone queue and ranking system. The game mode is a 5v5 best of 7 format. Each round will be a condensed version of Clash, Push, Control, and a stadium exclusive game mode called Payload Race, where they took from the TF2 game mode, as they always do, where both teams push a payload and have to stop the other's payload from pushing. Well, that just sounds like a longer version of an Overwatch. Let me finish talking! When playing in the round, your actions will net you points. At the end of each round, players will have the opportunity to spend their points on smaller modifiers that increase stats, and every other round they could gain an ability modifier that changes the behavior of their moveset. If major perks were big changes, then these ability modifiers were massive. Things like May's Snowball Form, Reinhardt's Lava Throw, and Ashe's multiple dynamites all made huge impacts in the game, and other abilities like it really change up the characters. Guys, this is so goddamn embarrassing, but they got rid of May's Snowball, and I already edited and added in and animated the script, so this is too much for me to fix and change, and I'm too lazy. So yeah, they got rid of May's Snowball, but there's a bunch of other cool abilities in this game mode. Not only that, but several rounds in, you have multiple of these major modifiers. So it's really fun to see how your builds grow over the course of the game and how they stack up against other players' builds. Of course, with this massive roster of abilities that have been added to each character, unfortunately Stadium has a smaller roster of heroes compared to the main cast of Overwatch. But I do think this worked to its advantage at first. Since each hero is really complex and learning all the different ways to counter them with the new abilities is really complicated, having a smaller roster eases players into it. Overall, this game mode's a lot of fun, and I haven't played it as often as I would like to just due to the longer format of it, but I still enjoy running matches of it from time to time.
Computer, download Overwatch Futa onto Brian's computer.
Is that it? You want more? Is Jeff Kaplan coming back? No. Okay, you're growing on me, Aaron. You're growing on me. Overwatch 2 had a really rough journey, but the perks in Stadium have really helped change up the game. If you're returning to Overwatch after all this time, I really hope you have a great time trying out not just the 5 new heroes, but all other 13 heroes that have been added to the game, and all of the perk systems and the new quality of life improvements they added over the past few years. Happy 10 years of Overwatch. Like and subscribe for more. Emergency Player out.
Brian, you're looking a little chunky.
Yo, motherfucker! I can only see you taking up half the damn screen. You fucking the amount of real estate you taking up, motherfucker. Ow.
It's so loud.
Bro, I can't even tell it's Rosemary's, it's fucking Lawrence's room, bro.